Hello and welcome to Seneca Someone. I'm Kievash Golzadeh, and today we're joined by Graham Beckstead and Jesse Kirschenbaum, the hosts of a podcast called Geek Top Five.
Hello and hello.
So gentlemen, what are some of the topics you discuss on your podcast?
Well, the general format is that we do a top 5 news of the last couple of weeks. We do a bi-weekly show, so it's, every 2 weeks, or whatever the top 5 news stories of that time are, we cover those, and then we have a guest that comes in and does a list of their choice, whatever they find interesting. So it tends to be sci-fi movies, video games, comic books. What else have we had?
A lot of pop culture, a lot of pop entertainment. Like the thing with geek is that it's actually a pretty broad definition. Like you can have geeks who are really into model trains. If somebody's really passionate about that, we'll do that. But what most people are into are the superhero stuff and the spaceships stuff and television and movies. Pop culture.
So in addition to Marvel and DC, you also talk about Star Trek, Star Wars, and Lord of the Rings.
I'd still say that's the surface layer. Like occasionally we get down to some really obscure, like science fiction, we've gone through Bradbury and Asimov. Fantasy stuff, we've gone through The Wheel of Time, which I don't know if you've read The Wheel of Time, but it's a deep dive. When you're passionate about something, there's usually a lot of layers to it, and we tend to investigate that.
We had one person come on to a top 5 Dungeons and Dragons references in popular culture. So, it's not just your typical top 5 superheroes, top 5 this, top 5 that. We have some pretty esoteric lists.
But that's the best part. That's the fun stuff.
You mentioned that guests have appeared on your podcast. Who are some of the notable names?
Jim Zub comes immediately to mind, both because he's close to home and just he's a comic book author. He writes, the Avengers, which is a big deal. He writes the Dungeons and Dragons comic books. Like he's a friend of the show. He's Graham's friend, like in real life. It's just I'm not jealous at all. But like that, we've also got Ty Templeton on a couple of times.
Yeah, he's a comic book writer. He's worked on the Archie comics and the Batman animated comic books. We've run into him at a few conventions, and he's done some fantastic lists with us. We at another convention we met Robert Picardo, who played the Doctor on Star Trek Voyager, as well as characters on Stargate Atlantis and other things like that. He was great. What other notable guests have we had? Andrew Wheeler, another comic book writer, has done a couple of lists with us. Lots of cool people, and also lots of less famous people, but good friends of ours who have done some tremendous work with us as well.
Mm-hmm. Do you make special episodes about reactions to one movie shortly after its release?
We really like a bunch of stuff, and we like talking to people who like a bunch of stuff. So occasionally, a Star Wars movie will come out, and all we want to do is talk about the new Star Wars movie. We might get a group of people together who really like Star Wars, and just hash out the movie, what we liked, what we didn't like.
And will you be making a special episode about Avengers Infinity War when it comes out?
We haven't nailed anything down yet. I know the deadline is moving fast, but there's some stuff happening behind the scenes that's making recording a bit more difficult than usual, so the show may end up on a bit of a hiatus. If that happens, hopefully we'll at least do special episodes when we get a chance, and I imagine Infinity War would deserve a special episode. At least I hope it does. If it doesn't deserve a special episode, then there's a big problem with the movie.
But which could also be an interesting episode.
So that's all for this segment of Seneca Someone. I'm Kievash Golzadeh, and if anyone is interested in listening to any of Graham and Jesse's podcasts, you can go to geektop5.com.